My name is Madison Parker. Most of you probably already know me. I wanted to come to you and share some primitive skills and some wilderness stuff and some trapping. And be doing some some plant fibers work, some trapping and snaring stuff, and maybe some shelter in the future. Doing the spear video again, another spear. This spear that I want to be doing in the near future will be a much smaller hand thrown, more of a spear that you throw from the ground to the ground. Whereas the spear that I showed in the last video that I did for Adam, it was a spear that you would use from a tree stand throwing downward. So there's the downward thrust from the tree stand, from the up, tree stand downward, and then there's the ground to the ground. In other words, you're on the ground throwing it to a target on the ground. So anyway, it's just a different type of spear in regards to its size and weight and that sort of thing. But we're going to be doing a little bit of everything, and we're going to take it slow and get some of these videos out to you. I hope you enjoy them. But I wanted to come to you today and teach you about the Ojibwe bird snare. And this is it right here. If you can get a look at this, I'll bring it 360 for you. This is an Ojibwe bird snare. But let me say first off, and I'm going to share with you how to put this together. But I want to say that it's actually what I've learned with this particular trap. If you want to call it a snare, you can, a trap or a snare, but either way you want to, it's to catch wild game. But I found that birds don't trigger it as easily as squirrels do, and squirrels love it. There's something about this construction that when a squirrel sees it, he's drawn to it. Now, I know about squirrels, and I'm an expert on squirrels. I know about squirrels. I hunt them. I've been hunting them all my life, so I know a lot about them. But I've caught more squirrels with this bird trap or bird snare than I've ever caught, birds. So I've probably caught 20 squirrels with this system, whereas I've never caught a bird once. But it's a bird snare or bird trap, Ojibwe bird snare. But I'm going to basically try and get the camera and set it up so I can, catch. You can see me take it apart. You can see it's put together. Now I'm going to take it all the way apart. When you're looking at this thing, each one of these is just simple sticks. And you want to take, essentially, you want to take your pruning shears, and you want to go find, stuff about this size right here. Everything's about the same size in diameter. This is all sapling stuff, or limbs and stuff like that, mostly saplings. And a lot of it's hardwood saplings. And I found that chopping them with a machete is not the way to go. You need, because of the size, you need the pruning shears. You can get those at any of your good hardware stores. Has a good set of pruning shears. It's a good item or a good tool. Let me go get mine and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. It's a good item. This is the pair that I use. I bought these at Lowe's. They're like under $10, and get a little lock on. And I carry them everywhere in my little kit bag that I go. I got my little survival vest or whatever you carry. These are excellent for making traps, doing any kind of trapping and snaring. These are mandatory. More important, in fact, to me, or at least as important as a machete. Or if some of you guys prefer, the Gransfors Brucks or the Wetterling axe hatchets, that sort of thing. I prefer the machete over the hatchet, but this is what I take when I'm going to do trapping. This is the tool that I take, and so like I say, this is from Lowe's. Great tool for trapping. Anyway, getting back to the size, you just walk around in the woods and you're just popping these. Basically, that's it. Now this is dry, so this is kind of old, then it's harder to cut. But if you're cutting that green right there, it just sit right off, no problem. little harder to cut whenever it's dry, and this is old. But I'm going to take it apart now and try and discuss it as I go. I hope the camera can see me taking it apart. I'm going to try and stay out of the loop so you can see it later. Put my glasses on, the old man with his glasses. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stand up. Okay, just start taking this thing apart, and as I take it apart, I'll explain how it came together. You know, I'm going to put it down just the same way I put it together. Of course, once you get it apart, it really starts to come out. It just comes up real simply. It literally falls apart. But you got to be careful. You don't want to get these particular pieces out of order. You want the length to correspond in a pyramid shape, like that. So, as you can see, it's got a shape like a pyramid. And it's terraced up. And so each piece corresponds with the next piece in the length of its. You can see most of the pieces are the same diameter, but all the pieces, as I take them off, get longer and longer as I go. Some of them are the same length, but they do get longer at the base. The base pieces being the longest, obviously. And, you know, so on and so forth. And you can see what I'm doing here, taking it apart. I think the camera can see me. I hope so. Okay, let me just continue doing this and I'll be right back. And you can see I've got the whole thing torn down. I've got the entire trap disassembled. So this is your foundation for your Ojibwe bird snare. Okay, see it? It's just simple 2 straight pieces of, you know, sapling with a 550 cord tied on each end to make a rectangle. And then what you're going to do is you're going to twist it like that. So then you got an X that's connecting the two. Now before I go any further, I want to show you, this is the trigger mechanism, or part of the trigger mechanism. It's monofilament line, heavy grade. You want it clear. If you can find monofilament, I mean, you know, if you keep a little roll of it, most survival packs should have a bit of monofilament line. I keep some with me all the time, you know, for fishing and that, but it's also good for snares, traps, and other things like that. But this is part of the trigger that I'll show you when I finish it and put it back together. We'll get back to that, but you can see how that just is a triangle, makes a triangle tied inside of the rectangle that's below. Okay, so anyway, so what you do is you take this and twist it so you get the X in the box. It's like right now it's a box. Now it's an X inside of a box, okay? Then I'm going to take this and get up here, lay it down on the bench, or in the case if you're in the field, you know, you lay it on the ground, and then you lift this up and you get it about the height that you want it, and you let it just naturally be the width. When you bring it to height, about that high, about that tall, that is, something like that, and I'll just lay it down like that. Okay, or I'll just let it be just laid down like that. It's fine. And then I'm going to go over here and start picking up the sticks and put them back, you know, in the order that I pulled them apart. And I showed you part of that video. I didn't want to be redundant, so you saw the process. But again, here we go. Put this thing back together. Now it's time consuming now. It's just any trap that you're going to do, any trap you're going to do in the field, you got to be a patient guy to do trapping. You really do. You got to be patient to wait for the game to get in your trap. You also have to be patient when you're building it so that you don't get frustrated. But it can be a test of patience. So it's something that takes time. It is work. It's no free ride, I'll tell you that. Anyway, let me just keep going here. I don't take up too much of the camera time. Just start laying these in here like this. Now I'm starting to get the structure See, each time I lay another stick in there, I want to push it as far to the outside as I possibly can. Now this one will go like that, and this one will go like this. Of course, that you want to keep that if it'll stay. Keep going with it. So basically what you're doing is you're just, each time you come with another stick, is you're just putting it as far out to the outside as possible. And as you get further up, it gets tighter and tighter, obviously. And that's when you start getting the structure, it starts becoming a solid piece. I'll tell you what, it's extremely strong and well built. When you put it together right, these things are indestructible. You can drop them on the ground. You can actually make cages out of them. It's a way to make a cage if you had a bird or something like that, or something you didn't want to kill right away. You didn't want the meat to spoil. The way you keep an animal, you got to build a cage in the field, that is. And this would be a technique for doing that. Apart from using it for a snare, it can be used as a cage, carrying a bird or something, or anything. But of course, you'd have to have a bottom on it. And that's another technique that I won't go into today. But anyway, so I'm moving along here, and everybody can see, I hope, that what I'm doing is just basically setting these in here one at a time. And getting further and further to the closer and closer, that is, closer and closer to the top. And as I get further up, this thing will start to tighten up on me. And when it does, that's when I've really got to start doing a little bit of physical labor. Gotta be real careful that you don't knock it over before it gets tight. See, this is touchy stuff right here. Really do have to be careful, and want to keep it as far out to the outer sides as possible as you're going up with it. As it starts to become a real structure. And when I say a real structure, I really mean a solid structure. These are not hard to build, they're just time consuming, and they take patience. They're not hard, but they're fun. And they work, they do work. They're good for rabbits, they're good for squirrels, and of course they are good for birds, although I've never caught birds in it. I probably could if I baited it properly. It would take a bait. You do need bait for these, by the way. Now for squirrels, obviously you take a bunch of whole acorns. You take the shell off the acorn and do it that way. Okay, now I'm starting to get tightened up. A little bit more, and I'll be able to start tightening it from the bottom up. You'll see what I mean in just a second. Each time you attach, you're going 2 by 2. It's always 2 by 2. 2 here by 2 here. See? And now that it's getting tight, I'm going to put my glasses back on. I'm going to get down here before I go too far with it, and take these and pull them out, thereby tightening the structure, keeping it uniform, keeping the trap orderly as I go up with it. You got to be careful, because each time you pull it this way on this side, it's going in on the other side. So you got to be careful you're not going to pull it apart before it gets the solid foundation that it needs to have to be functional. Okay, I'm back to my little stick. It's just a straight, about 3.5, 4-inch long piece of limb, and it's as flat as possible on each side. And I'm going to show you how to make a trigger for this. You need a saw. It's easier with a saw. I know I'm on. Okay, now you see I made that half cut halfway through on one side, then I turn it perpendicular, take and make the same cut on this side, about exactly adjacent to the other one, to the previous cut. Is the same way. Be real careful doing this, because you can take the hide off your hands. If you jump the saw, if you jump that saw, man, it can dig into your fingers really bad. There it goes. Okay. You see it, how it snapped? It should fit perfectly together because it was one stick. Okay, it should fit just perfectly. That's the thing about snapping it. When you put it back together, it works just right. Okay, but it's very unstable. Now it just looks like a stick with 2 notches on it, but actually what it is now, it's 2 sticks. You see, I just put it back together, just like I took it apart. Make sure it fits real good and tight and snug before you go and put it in your snare. Pretty close. Okay, I'll put this off to the side. Put this up, rotate it. Let's go this way with it. So I need my bar here. So it's real important that the length be just right on this. Kind of have to tweak it, as you will with any kind of trap or snare you're going to build. You got to work with it until it's set right. Because what happened is the trap itself, I think the cord that I have connecting it loosened up, made it loose. Now I think I've got the system set. That's it, basically. Okay, I'll just use this as a pointer. When you put your bait back here, in case of living in the field or off the land, find you an oak tree hammock, where there's lots of oak trees. And of course you're going to have squirrels whenever you got oak trees, or birds. And if it's the summertime, you can put berries in there, like the blackberries that grow around here, raspberries, strawberries, wild strawberries and stuff like that in the spring and summer. And then of course in the fall, you're looking for acorns, and you're going to catch first off with the squirrel. If you've got any kind of raisins or anything like that, that'll work. Whatever you got, like trail mix, that was excellent stuff. Like just a little bit, that much. And you want to put it, I use this as a poker, or pointer that is, just right back here. You can see where I'm rotating my saw here, in that area. So you see, I don't know, the camera really can't see that monofilament line, but it's right here, going across this stick right here. So what the squirrel's going to do is going to go across this and touch that string, going to the bait in the back. And when he does, it basically drops on him, and that's how you get it. So it just goes like that. And one thing about this system, though, you do want to be nearby. You don't have to sit there and watch it constantly, but you don't want to go too far away from it. You can set a couple of these around your camp, around your base camp, if you're by yourself. just sit off from it. Your camp is here, maybe 50, 60 yards. You can see it down the way. If it's down a hill, put it at the bottom of the hill, and maybe you're uphill from it, or looking off to the side, either left or right. That way you can keep your eye on it without encroaching on the territory, and the squirrel, the rabbits, or whatever the birds are going to come in without feeling molested by you, and they feel safe, so then they're going to go into it. But it is a baited set. It is a type of set. You're going to have to use some kind of bait: raisins, trail mix, peanuts. Of course, if you don't have that sort of thing, of course, your acorns, what you want to do is gather yourself some acorns. This is in the fall, obviously, and you peel the shell of the acorn and get the hull. Not the hull. You want to take the hull off, then the shell, and then get the nut itself, the yellow, orangish pieces, and put them in there, and that color. That'll draw a squirrel in, or the birds. Anyway, so that's basically it. That's the Ojibwe bird snare, and I hope you've enjoyed this short video of how you put one together. And this is pretty solid construction. I mean, it's not going to fall apart on you. It's stout. You can see it's pretty strong. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed. Appreciate you watching. This is the first of hope to be many coming out. Anyway, enjoy and take care. And remember, the slogan goes, if you're not always prepared, you're never prepared. Take care.